Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. First half of the show, we had head coach Todd Bowles. Now I'm so excited to be joined by inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell. Coach, thanks for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
First of all, great to have you back. You know, that we got to do this with you a few years ago, and now here you are back again. And I wish I had a better game to be talking about with you, as I'm sure you do as well. For you guys, just defensively, now that you've had a bit of a day to process and digest, what are some of the just kind of big picture takeaways from that game for y'all?
Just energy. We need energy from everyone. And once we do that, I think the energy takes care of itself. Guys go out there, they play hard. It's just we're not getting it done right now, and we just got to find a way to get a win.
And then I know for you guys as coaches, just trying to find the message to the team this week of now knowing, I mean, this is obviously, it all comes down to this for all the marbles. This last game, what are kind of the messages that Todd has been giving to them, that you and even some of the leaders, knowing you've got one of the best leaders on the team in your room, what's the message to everybody?
Really just opportunities. They come, sometimes they come often, sometimes they don't. And you have to take advantage of them. And right now, we're not doing it, and they understand that. So we're talking to them about making sure you take advantage of the chances you're given.
I know that 145 rushing yards for them, not quite what you guys were hoping for, but they've got some talented guys over there. What were your thoughts on the run defense, what they did well, what you guys could have maybe done a little bit more to keep those numbers down? Really
just overall, just playing more fundamentally sound. I think we gave up a few plays that we shouldn't have, and that's always happens in the game, but a lot of times you can overcome that with energy and effort. And the guys are playing hard. It's just we're not on the same page at the same time, and we're looking to get that corrected this week.
How challenging is it knowing it is a short week? Of how much does a day affect what you guys do as coaches, what the players do? You know, that it sounds like, oh, it's just one day, but in a league where you guys are pretty regimented on what a week looks like, how does that impact everyone, especially on a game that means so much?
Really, right now, the game means so much. The amount of sleep you get doesn't matter. The amount of time you're in the building doesn't matter. Really important for the players to get their bodies ready, their minds ready, and we'll go from there. But coaching-wise, we're here for it, and we're going to do everything we can to give the right game plan and get it done.
I know that Dulcich ended up with touchdown, several different catches in the game. How do you feel like you guys faced him, and then just tight ends overall this year? What have been the strengths and weaknesses when you've been facing some talented tight ends?
When you talk about tight ends, they're really the security blanket for the quarterback, and you know, you drop back and you don't want to give up a big play, and then the tight end's right over the ball. So you have to break up, and I don't want to say it's always open, but they're the safety valve. And you know, we just got to make sure we do a good job of getting them on the ground and making sure we understand our leverage and get the guys on the ground.
I know that, you know, between Lavante and Servase, they're both asked to do a lot. So this game, how would you rate their performance and your position room overall?
Well, the way I look at it is, if we don't win, you didn't do enough. And that's the message, and they hear it every week. You know, we need more. And those guys are giving us everything they got. Really got a really unique room with Lavante, got Voss in there, and Debo. So I got a bunch of players, and I got two young guys, and Anthony Walker's coming back. So there's a variety of players in there that understand how to play and played real good ball in this league. So it's a bunch of leadership, and I'm asking them to lead. And I mean, man, we know Lavante knows how to do that, and I know he's typically not the vocal leader. He's more the lead by example, but he can be vocal when he needs to be, and I know that he has been lately. So how has it been watching him kind of take on that leadership role? What's that looked like maybe in recent weeks here? It's really what's expected. When you have the respect that Lavante has, it's expected. And he has two young guys in his room and a couple other guys, but I tell him, you know, your respect needs to spill out into the whole team. Like, you have a voice, and it's a strong voice, and it carries, so let's use that voice. We're talking inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell. At this point in Lavante's career, what would you say are his biggest strengths, like right now at this moment? I think leadership, one, and understanding the game, and really communicating. You'll see him see an offensive formation and make a check and get guys in the right spot. So just being able to go out there and be the quarterback of the defense and really run the show. He does a good job of understanding what the offense is trying to do and puts us in the best position to stop it.
How do you see his mental side of his game affecting his ability to play this long? That when, guys, the longer they're in the league, it feels like the mental side has to compensate for maybe not being quite so spry as you were year one. So what are the ways that you've seen the mental side let him play as long as he has at such a high level?
When you play at that high of a level, it's really unique to him. He's able to understand, he's able to cheat alignments and understand what the offense is trying to do. But the biggest thing is, I watched a game last year in the playoffs and I saw it, I was like, there's not a whole bunch of linebackers that are coming into the league that can make that play. And he's still able to get where he needs to get, and the mental part helps him, but he still can perform at a high level.
What do you think are some of the things that maybe fans, we wouldn't always notice or see that he's doing? What are the underrated, underappreciated aspects of what he's still doing at this point?
Really the biggest thing for linebacker-wise, and he does a great job of it, is getting guys lined up. First off, they got to understand what defense they're playing in, and if they're misaligned, he's the one that really goes up and might slap them on the butt and get them into a different alignment. And then understanding what the offensive formation tells you and being able to adjust and use your techniques, use your stunts to be able to get in the right position to make the play.
How have you seen him adjust to, as the physical side maybe changes for him of, again, that year, 1,000 it feels like for him, you're not going to be exactly the same physical player you were early on. How have you seen him make adjustments for that or, transition into that? Because I know how hard that can be for a lot of guys that you're used to maybe being able to make a play a certain way. How have you seen him make those adjustments?
I think mentally he's able to understand the formations and able to recognize it because he's seen it so many times, and once you see it one time, it might not click, but he's seen it enough to where it clicks. And then he understands that he takes care of his body. Like, it's really from Sunday after the game to Saturday right before the game. That's when all the behind-the-scene work, that's what really makes him stand out and makes him able to go out there and continue to make plays, being able to take care of your body on and off the field, and he does a great job of getting himself prepared to play.
What is it like to coach someone who is so good, who knows so much? That I've always thought about this for coaches that are coaching the LeBrons of the world and the people who clearly know what they're doing. How is that unique for you as a position coach to come in to someone like Lavante who is so good and knows what they're doing at such a high level?
The thing about Lavante, he wants to get coached. He wants to find an edge. So that's my job. I sit back and he'll come to me and say, what can I do better? And I'll try to dissect it as much as I can and give him a tip there and let him run with it because he understands the game and he understands how to play it. It's just being able to help him play it a little bit better.
How have you seen him help and influence Servassier?
Really just the presence in the room. They have a really good relationship and they're very similar. Really not outgoing personalities, but the leadership just comes because in the linebacker position and their personalities, guys are going to gravitate to them, and they'll listen to what they say because they understand that they're students of the game and they understand what needs to be done.
And I know you talked about the way that Lavante handles a lot of the mental side, a lot of the communication side out there, but I know Servassier also had a lot of that put on his plate this year as well. So take us through a bit of kind of what are his responsibilities specifically, and why were they a little bit new to him this year?
It's really setting the front is one, and then just making really adjustments on his side of the ball. Lavante's on one side and he'll be on the other side, so he has a couple of defensive linemen that he needs to understand where they need to go and get those guys lined up. And he's growing at the job and doing a good job.
Yeah, what have you seen about just what Bolles defense in general requires of the inside linebacker position and what that makes it unique compared to some other defensive schemes, or just what it means is on the shoulders of those guys?
I think we ask the guys to be really committed to the run game. And you can see both the guys understanding that in order to have a successful defense, the linebackers have to really erase other people's mistakes. And I call them erasers at times, and they understand that and they accept it. it's a big challenge because you're behind guys that have their hand in the ground. So you just got to make sure you understand what they're supposed to do and what the offense is trying to do and take advantage of your skill set.
All right, we're going to take a quick break here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We're talking to inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We're talking to inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell. So right before the break, we were talking about SirVocea and how much more mentally was sort of put on his plate and the expectations for him in his role this year. What have you seen about, if you think back to first 3 or 4 games of SirVocea this season to now, what are the biggest areas of growth or ways that you've seen him, come to a better understanding of what this role looks like and requires of you?
I think really early on in the season, he understood how to play, but now he's making plays. You see him in the run game. He's doing an exceptional job of getting off blocks, shooting gaps, and then in the pass game, he's able to keep his leverage and get the ball where it needs to be.
What have you seen since you learned about SirVocea and coming in here getting to coach him? What are his sort of biggest strengths mentally, physically, the things that make him someone that can play at this level and at this position? I
think the physicality. When I first saw him, I was like, okay, kind of slender guy, not real big, but when he's out there, he does a good job of using his hands, and he's physical on contact, and he's a solid tackler. So he's a linebacker that's going to continue to get better, and looking forward to it.
What are some of those areas that you now are working on with him, or what would be the things that you would say if X, Y, Z could happen would really take his game to that next level? What would that next level SirVocea look like?
I like splash plays, interceptions and sacks, and have the interception, the sacks are coming, just plays like that, just to be able to dictate to an offense. And he has the ability to take the ball away, which is really important, and also stop the run. And then in coverage, he's able to get back, get enough depth, and then rally down and be a sure tackler.
How do you see guys like Tyke and Antoine playing behind you guys helps Lavante and SirVocea with what they do?
I think having 2 strong safeties behind us where you can trust them, you can take a chance because you know that the safety is going to be back there. If there's a chance where I can undercut a tight end, I'll go ahead and undercut it, because if I don't make the play, I know I got 2 guys back there that are really capable of making it.
I know we talked a bit about the run game from this last Sunday, but if we were to go season overall, looking at your position room and how they have faced the run the whole season, what would maybe be the grade you'd give or the thoughts you'd give on how they've done in the run game?
I think overall run game wise, I would give it I'm real hard. Give it probably a C+, because we're not where we want to be. So I'm always talking about being better and back to work, and a C+, you got to get back to work because I know we're better than that and we can continue to grow.
How about your guys in the pass game overall?
Pass game overall, we haven't been put in too many bad situations, but there's a couple of times where we were in a bad situation and we made the play, and then other times we didn't. So just, again, probably maybe a C+ again.
Yeah. I imagine that no matter what I asked you, maybe C+ is that kind of your mantra, because we don't want to give the guys too much credit,
That's it. I'm going to be positive, but never give them too much credit.
We're talking inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell here. Deion Jones, tell me about the decision to bring him in, and in the times he's gotten out on the field, what are some of his biggest strengths and what he's brought? The
biggest strength is he's very, very fast, and he's a player that has played in this league and made a bunch of plays in this league, and he understands his role. The biggest thing about him is he understands that he's able to help guys because he's seen it, and going out there every day, comes in with a smile on his face, and he's great to work with, and the guys love him, and he's a good teammate. And then when he's called upon, he goes out there and makes plays. So that's I know he would like to play more, but he's happy with the role, and we're happy with what he's doing.
I know he and Lavante are pretty close, and I would just love to know, if we hear so much about the importance of chemistry from like an offensive line standpoint, or QB wide receiver, things like that. How important is it in your room, and if so, in what way? What are the ways that either between themselves or them and even other positions where that chemistry needs to be the best?
Well, we talked about making calls and communicating, and some guys are quiet, some guys are natural leaders and natural vocal, and I think when you put a certain group out there together. One guy's going to lean on his strengths, and the other guy might have a weakness that he might need to lean on someone else's strengths. So I think all the guys can work good together because they understand what needs to be done and who has the different capabilities to get it done.
And then I know you also have, young guys, Nick Jackson, John Bullock, and both of them made some pretty big plays in the preseason. So what do you remember from back then that made them, got roster spots are hard to come by, and especially, special teams factors in, all of it. But preseason and helping figure out who was going to make the 53 and then wanting to keep certain guys on the practice squad, how did those kind of decisions get made, and what did they show you before the season?
I always tell guys that I've never cut anyone. You cut yourself. And those guys came in here, and I think they took heed to that. And they've done a good job of understanding what's required of them, and they go out there and they perform. They did a good job in preseason, and for a young linebacker to come in the preseason and run the show, that's it doesn't happen often. And those two guys did a great job, and it worked well for them.
What do you feel like Nick Jackson's potential is and his biggest strengths?
I think the physicality, the way he plays the game. He's strong, a little bit bigger than our other linebackers, and I think he'll be able to cover at times, but the biggest strength he has right now is being able to play downhill and play physical and use his hands. And
then how about John Bullock, same thing?
John, he gets it done a different way. He's not as big, but he's still physical, and he comes down and he understands how to slip blocks, and he's real good in space, so excited to see him grow in the future.
And then you guys brought Anthony Walker back recently. What was the decision behind that, and just what he has the potential to bring while he's here? Just
really another veteran presence in a linebacker room. He's played just like Dion. He's played a bunch of games in this league, and you talk about a player that's going to be a coach afterwards. You can see it already. He's smart. He's very likable. He has that outgoing personality where he'll talk to anyone from any position, and the guys tend to gravitate to him.
What have you seen about where the position of inside linebacker has evolved across the NFL in recent years of just especially going back into either your playing days all the way to now, of just the evolution of the position itself?
I think it's they were trying to weed us out earlier, but now with the new kickoff rule, I think guys have been able to cover kicks and play in space are needed. You see special teams being a big part of it, and being able to play in space. That's the biggest part. The games now is no longer a north and south game. It's east and west game, so you have to be able to run and cover ground and cover fast receivers and being able to tackle guys in space. So there's a skill set that only linebackers really have, that are able to cover a receiver and also tackle a back and also get off a lineman's block. And as long as we keep doing that, I think we'll stay around.
Does it seem like maybe also even just the body type needed has changed therefore?
Really, the days of the 250-pound inside linebacker, that's gone. Yeah, because the mismatch on the running backs that we have now. So you need guys around 225 to 240 to be able to go out there and run and just get the job done. It's a unique job because you have to take on linemen and also tackle small guys. So you have to have a pretty unique skill set.
All right, we're going to take one more break here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We're talking inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell. This is Buccaneers Radio. Welcome back into Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. We have inside linebackers coach here, Mike Caldwell, with us. So for you, your second stint here, which we were all excited to have you back. What is it like to get to coach somewhere for the second time?
Really, it's like coming home. I went away for a while, and now I'm back, and just be around the guys that I kind of grew up with. I've been knowing Todd for a long time, and really a lot of guys on staff. It really feels good to be able to come back and really be a part of something that you helped build. That's
cool. And tell me what you learned in some of the stops between when you were here the last time. Now you ended up in Jacksonville and Vegas for a bit between the two. What are some of the things that you feel like either working with those players or individual situations that maybe you were able to learn from and bring back here?
Really just understanding what players need. off the field and on the field, like the type of information they can absorb and being able to relay that information. And then coaching-wise, like there's always a different way. And your way might not be for everyone, and just be able to adjust and be able to get the information to the guys so they can go out and play fast.
Yeah, the more ways you can do it, the better.
Always, because it's like teaching. I consider myself a teacher, and if one kid or one player can't get the information the way I'm saying it, I got to have another way to be able to get it to them.
And then I know for you, 11-year playing career. Tell me about maybe the type of player you were. What would you say if your guys were to watch film of you? What do you think they'd say? They
would have said he was definitely a cover linebacker. I could run a little bit, so.
I like it.
Yeah, so they would definitely call me a cover linebacker.
What do you feel like made you want to go into coaching? And you mentioned something about Anthony Walker, if he's going to become a coach. Not every player wants to, not every player can. What made you the guy that could go into coaching?
Really, I was at home and I was coaching my daughter's 6-year-old co-ed basketball team.
Well, yeah, if you can do that, yeah.
Yeah, and I was game planning for that, and my wife was like, you're really doing too much right now, so you might want to try coaching. And I called former coach Andy Reid and the Bill Walsh minority internship. Was able to get my foot in the door and been coaching ever since.
I love that. How do you feel like being a former player influences the way you coach as compared to maybe somebody who didn't play in the league?
I think it helps because you sit in the seats and you understand how you would want information and how you would like to be treated and how you like to be coached. So it's just been there, done that, and understand that.
Have your guys actually got to see footage of you playing? Do you know?
The first time I was here, they did.
Yeah.
I think those old tapes are burned now.
Yeah, you got rid of those.
Got to find them.
What do you feel like is the stuff that you say to them? That this is what I always love, especially the coaches who played, the back in my day or back when I did it. What are those things that you think you say to them like that?
Well, I always say, do as I say, not as I did, because the game's different now.
Yeah.
And we have a Bucs sign that's on the front of your helmet. And I used to say, you got to strike with the buck, but you can't strike with the buck anymore because it's a penalty. So sometimes I say, do as I say, not as I did.
Yeah, that's a very good point. So now, as we talked about, incredibly important game coming up this next week. How bizarre is it to face a team twice in 3 weeks in general, much less when it is at the very end of the season and for all the marbles? What are sort of the weird things about that?
Trying to find out who can make adjustments and being able to understand what the offense is going to try to do to us and what we need to do to them, and just being able to go out there. It's going to be a chess match, and everybody will be ready, and just go out there and give it your all and make sure we come out on top.
Yeah, what have you learned about the whole concept of the chess match idea, where you want to out-scheme but you don't want to out-scheme yourself or do too much on the guys? What have you learned about sort of that happy medium over the years?
The biggest thing is keep it simple and allow your guys to play fast. As coaches, we're not players anymore, and we got to make sure that our players go out there and they play the game. We give them the most information we can, the best techniques, the best fundamentals, but at the end of the day, it's their game to play. We just try to put them in the best position and let them take over from there.
With it being a shorter week in terms of preparation, is that actually helpful that you just played them?
It really is. We understand what they're going to do, and they kind of got an idea of what we're going to do, but it's execution. We make a call, and if we go out there and all 11 execute, we'll be fine.
What are the things that you look back on that first matchup and, either watching the tape after that game a couple weeks ago or looking at it now, what are some of the biggest things you guys feel like you learned defensively about that game?
I think it's really not about them, it's about us. If we go out and we execute the way we need to, we'll be fine. When we bust plays and don't communicate and do things that are uncharacteristic of ourselves, then that's where the problems start. But, we'll have the guys really confident in the game plan, going out there, ready to make the plays and get the victory.
How about Bryce Young? What have you learned about him and the way he's evolved in this next year of his career, the way he's been playing at a higher level, and just the things that you guys have to be on the lookout for with a guy of his kind of size, speed, and the way he plays the game?
You can see he's the game's slowing down for him. He understands where to go with the ball when there's a blitz coming, and he's sneaky athletic. He really does a good job of buying time in the pocket, and he'll scramble and hurt you that way. So you have to understand how to rush him, how to get him on the ground, and make sure you do a good job in coverage and take things away from him.
We're talking inside linebackers coach Mike Caldwell. Knowing that they've got definitely that kind of two-headed monster of the running backs, Hubbard and Dowdle, what are unique about each of them to each other and the different types of backs they are, and what that then means about how you have to face them?
Well, we understand that Rico's played a great season. He's had a bunch of runs and his numbers are really high, and we understand that he's a game wrecker. He can wreck the game, so we have to be on our P's and Q's and make sure we keep him contained and get off blocks and just play Bucs ball, Bucs defense, and we'll be fine doing that. Hubbard, he's another guy that he's different. He runs downhill more. He's a little bit bigger, a little stockier, so we just understand what he has to do, but it really just comes back to us. We have to understand if we get off the blocks, we take care of our gaps and keep the ball inside when it needs to be inside, we'll be fine.
What would you say are going to be the kind of biggest indicators of which direction the game would go, if it's either certain stats or certain things that happen in the game? If you were to pick a couple kind of keys to it for you guys, what would it be?
I think the biggest stat is, and it's always this, turnovers or takeaways.
Yeah.
We got to take the ball away from them, and we can't give it up. And if we take the ball away, we'll be fine.
There have been some great takeaways this year on defense, and then there have been some lulls without some and games without some. What have you seen as the causes of that? Because I know sometimes people talk about takeaways are sort of they come in bunches, or sometimes they are just lucky. If does the fumble bounce your way or not? But some are the ones you really do create. What have you seen about when you guys have not been able to create as many? What's been the difference?
I think when the guys play fast, and we talked about energy early, when we have a bunch of energy, and hopefully this shows Saturday night maybe, and the crowd on Sunday brings energy, and we can feed off that, and that's when good things start to happen. When guys are excited to play and they're running around for each other and for the fans, that's when good things happen.
And for the players, the difference in sort of the 1 p.m. game for prime time, how does that affect them and their preparation that day, their bodies, their everything of what you guys try to do to maybe also help them be as ready as possible, knowing, like you said, the energy part is so important to make sure that they're ready for that coming out at a 4 p.m. game?
Yeah. I think Todd does a good job of understanding the different times and being able to change the schedule to get the guys used to being ready to perform at a certain time, and we'll be ready to go. Yeah, we'll be ready to go. It's really a big game, and I'm really getting excited talking about it right now. Just thinking about it.
I'm getting ready. I'm like, I can see why you work well in a meeting room. I'm like, you're getting me excited for it.
Yeah, it's been a long time since we had a victory, and really it feels like a long time since we've been at home. Mm-hmm. And I'm ready to get out there Saturday and get in front of our crowd and feel the energy, feel the excitement, and let's put on a show for them.
What have you been proud of for how your guys and the team have handled this stretch without a lot of wins? And, we hear all about what's, locker rooms and coaching staffs and all of it. What have you been proud of the way that the team has responded even when it hasn't resulted in the wins yet?
I think the main thing is after a loss or when something doesn't go your way, your character shows when you get right back to work. And last week's practice was really intense, and it was high. It was a high level practice, and we expect the same thing this week, and it'll carry over, and you continue to work, your work pays off. It didn't pay off last week, it didn't pay off the week before, but I'm telling the guys over and over and over, when you work, your work pays off.
And then finally, just knowing that you're facing, as you talked about sort of the familiarity, a coach who definitely everybody's very familiar with each other of the time that Dave Canales was here. What are the things that you've kind of learned about facing his offense overall?
He can attack you in multiple ways, and he has a good group of weapons that he's able to use, and they'll be ready. It's going to be a big challenge for us, and they know us, we know them, and Saturday, 4:30, let's go get it.
Let's go get it. Well, Coach, thank you so much for spending this time with us. We really do appreciate it. I know y'all are, again, slammed with a very important week, so your time is very valuable and very appreciated.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's going to do it for us here on Buccaneers Total Access, brought to you by Advent Health. This has been Inside Linebackers coach Mike Caldwell. This is Buccaneers Radio.